This is another neat pistol. Since I made a video on the Ruby, I thought I'd make one about this. This is the MAB in 32 ACP, 7.65 by 17 mil. This one is in fairly rough shape. It does not like to stay locked back. For some reason, that catch does not like to work very well. This one does not have a lot of tension. The recoil spring is pretty worn. You can see it doesn't snap back into place real hard. Its trigger is not very hard at all. I'm not even sure this will fire, but I want to take it to range and try her out. These do not appear to be the correct grips for this gun, and they're in really, really bad condition. You can see the holes do not line up correctly. With this part of the grip lined up, this screw is clearly well below the alignment hole on the grip. Same with the other side. I did procure some replacement used grips, and these share the exact same dimensions as these grips, and they also do not line up. So I'll have to do a little more research on that. Disassembly on these is a little bit neat. There is and this is an early MAB, by the way. This one has German Waffen marks, so it was used by the Nazis in World War II. You're supposed to be able to just press this, and that levers itself out, but it doesn't work very well. So on this particular model, I don't know if it just doesn't have very good spring tension, or if they're all like this. This is the only one I've ever seen in person. But when you bring this out, you can rotate this about a quarter of a turn, and it will come out. So the way I take this one apart, and I've never shot this, but I'm going to shoot it this weekend. I get my fingernail under there, and now the only thing holding this in is the catch, so a groove. The only thing holding this in is a groove. So when I rotate this a quarter turn, there's a lot of tension on it, and it's going to want to come out. Luckily, this recoil spring is fairly worn, so it doesn't have that much tension. Always go with the direction of the spring when you're removing them, so they don't bind. And this one, you bring her back. So rotate the barrel counterclockwise and bring it forward. So like a Glock, you got to pull the trigger to take it apart. So have your magazine in, have it lined back up, pull the trigger. Now take your magazine out, because it will get stuck on that, and it will come off the rest of the way. And this is your sear. This is your striker spring assembly in here. See, Glock wasn't the first one to invent strikers. So for field stripping and cleaning, that just comes right out. Your barrel, now you rotate it back. Rotate it back clockwise, comes right out. Again, this is a John Moses Browning design, so like most of his designs, it has lugs in there, like a 1911 on top. It's got them on the bottom. It's a lock barrel design, just like the Ruby. This gun shares some similar traits, except being striker fired versus an internal hammer. One of the things you need to be careful about when you put this gun back together is that tail end of the spring on the striker needs to go inside there. So you put your barrel back in, turn it counterclockwise, make sure that your tail of your sear spring is sticking out, because when you put it on, you need to make sure that it makes its way into that hole. If you just put it on, it might not line up correctly. So it needs to go in there. This is where it gets a little tricky on these, is you can't just drop them back. They like to get stuck. Sometimes you got to jiggle the barrel a little bit. These weren't made as precise as new guns today. I always have a little trouble doing this. And you know what I just realized? I didn't rotate the barrel enough. because my extractor groove is not in the right spot. You see how it wants to get tight. So that's the barrel in the upright position. Rotate it. And she comes backward. For some reason it's getting stuck. There we go, now she's lined up. It should be good. Get her spring on, and always go with the direction of the coils. Now when you put these on, it's a little bit easier. Also make sure the slide's forward so you don't have as much spring tension. And you'll have your groove that needs to end up on the bottom. So you bring it down, and it'll push itself in, and that is it. Take the safety off. She should be good. Trigger doesn't function because we have a magazine disconnect. Trigger functions. Does not lock back on an open magazine. There is no provision for that. But sear is cocked. Safety's on. Doesn't shoot. Safety's off. And it shoots. But that sear does not sound very strong. It doesn't sound like it gets a really good impact. So it'll be interesting to see if it actually does shoot or not. I'm going to take it to the range and see what it does. And then I got to get back to trying to find some decent grips for this. It's not in great condition and it's not really worth restoring, but it is a fun piece of history. This is also a John Moses Browning design based on the FN made Browning, what was that? The Browning 1910-22. The firing pin spring on that firing pin is just, doesn't give a very positive sound. Didn't want to load all the way. That recoil spring is kind of weak. Maybe we can do a tune-up on it. It actually shot and ejected. I'm kind of surprised. Let's put 2 rounds and see what it does. Will it chamber the second one? I'm a little bit surprised. Again, recoil spring is not quite sending it into battery. Yeah, I saw 2 rounds come out of there. And we do have a live round in front of the firing line. I shot all 4, no problem that time. Maybe she just hasn't been used in 30 or 40 or 50 years and needs to get waken up. Should I say a big thank you to gunblitz.com for supplying the ammo?
Big thank you to gunblitz.com for supplying the ammo.
Here's 6 rounds of this. You will love this. This is smooth. There's no way it can jam.
Okay.
You already like it, don't you? That's a World War II French MAB Model D.
Oh, it didn't even chamber.
Slowly went back in the battery.
Something moved. Ow! Ow, something hit me. I've been shot.
Was it the front sight?
It jammed less than the Ruby.
Again. I'm starting to see why they don't use these anymore.
I don't think it was all the way in the battery.
I think it broke.
It might have broke.
Remember when I said I felt something move?
Yep.
That might have been all the internals imploding.
The MAB. This is a neat little pistol. The slide lock doesn't even want to stay locked. That slow recoil, and you can see how slow this slide closes. It's definitely a little dirty. Springs are a little bit worn. We lost a piece of the grip while we were shooting it. These grips are absolutely horrible. I did buy new replacement grips. I did buy new grips. They're not brand new, they're original replacement grips. But like all MABs, apparently they shrunk because the holes don't line up, so I couldn't go ahead and put them on to shoot with. And then I'm left with that question of, do I go ahead and get brand new production fancy grips for it, which would be really nice, some nice wooden ones, or try to wallow these holes out a little bit and make them fit, which I might actually do first, because I can't bring myself to put modern grips on this gun. We did have a failure at the range. It did cease functioning, which was sad because it's a fun little pistol. But we took it apart. We couldn't find anything wrong. Upon putting it back together, it did seem to function again properly. The trigger now does work. The trigger does now work. See, now it's not working again. It does have a magazine disconnect. Oh, the safety was not all the way down. It was halfway engaged, the safety right there, and I bet you that was not allowing it to function properly. Extremely weak spring on the firing pin. I should show a picture of that. It's amazing that it actually does work. I didn't think it would. It's so weak, I was expecting light primer strikes. But it does go bang. It does not feed reliably, and it continuously jams. With hollow points, it was very, very bad. But still something to add to the collection.